Get rolling.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
All right. Good evening, everyone. We will start with personal appearances. And Mr. Ackerman, do you want to continue on what we've been doing these last few months and go for it?
Good evening, Commissioner Olson and Park Board members. Ryan Ackerman here on behalf of the Service River Joint Board. I'm just going to step through an update for this month. Okay, I'm gonna walk through the status of all the various phases just to give you kind of an update on where we're at with phases MI6 and MI7 with regard to bidding, contracting, and etc. So we've got the various phases and sub-phases broken down on this very busy slide, but I'll just kind of walk through them like I've done in the past here. Phase MI6A was the tree removal basically from the pool and west into downtown. That's MI6A. That is complete. MI6B is the balance of that project from basically the pool and west to Main Street. That bid opening was back in the middle of May. Bid was about 40% over the engineer's estimate on that. So the Joint Board is still reviewing its options right now. It hasn't made a decision yet, but I expect that decision will be forthcoming within the next week or so. With regard to phase MI7, tree removal there, the MI7 would be from the pool all the way through the bulk of Roosevelt Park and then also through the zoo. Tree removal for that initial phase is complete. We didn't do much inside the zoo itself, but everything through Roosevelt Park, that is complete. The monument relocations, you see the pictures right. We've got that work completed with the exception of the Teddy Roosevelt statue. We are getting a foundation design to Matson Construction with the hope that they basically move Teddy one time. We tried to bid the Roosevelt Zoo utilities, got some unfavorable numbers, so we rejected those and rolled those into what we called phase MI7E. We opened that for the first time back in the middle of May, rejected those bids. They were 50% over engineers' estimates, so we are in the process of rebidding those right now. We've got basically 3 different projects right now that are on the street for bidding. Okay, we've got the flood control work, and then we also have 2 building packages. On the building packages side of things, we've organized this to basically be buildings that are inside the zoo boundary as one package. So that would be Discovery Barn, the camel exhibit, and the new concession stand. That would be handled by one contractor. That way Jeff has one set of lapels to shake if something goes wrong here. And then we have another building package that is the Magic City Express building combined with the bathroom that'll be located near the pickleball courts. That's also going out as a separate package. So we'll see numbers back on those 2 projects in July, and also the main flood control work in July as well. So the intent here of the rebid is to try and solicit more interest by pushing the schedule back. The feedback that we've gotten from the marketplace is that the schedule is too aggressive, and basically the labor that is available in the market right now is not sufficient to be able to complete the project on the schedule that we were hoping. So the prices reflected that in the first go around. So our hope is that those numbers tame down when we relax the schedule a little bit, rebid this project. So with that, there'll be some additional phases that come out once we get these 3 phases that are out for bid right now under contract. We'll be following that up with another package for the new zoo exhibits. That'll be located in the current Roosevelt Park area. We're just finalizing some foundation designs there using those borings that we collected here about a month ago to inform those designs, get those designs done, and then we'll be ready to bid those as well. And then obviously the demolition of the North American exhibits will occur much into the future here. So just to kind of give a brief run through of what's happening, with the project wise, I'm just going to kind of step through this relatively quickly. If there's something that you see here that catches your attention, or you have a question on, just interrupt me, please. But this drone flight captures. Right now we're flying west toward downtown, but it'll turn around and come back through the park and zoo area. Not much has really changed in the last, month or so, because we haven't been doing much by the way of a big construction here. But as we kind of round the corner, one of our areas that we're trying to address kind of continuously is safety, security, and access around this pre-consolidation pile that was placed. You'll see in our outstanding items list that I'm going to go through in a little bit that we've got a couple of action items that we're undertaking with regard to that. The work on the bottom of the screen here, that's associated with phase MI5. That's coming along nicely, about a year ahead of schedule on that one, fortunately. But you can see here all the trees have been removed along the river, and then also in the area within the park where there'll be conflicts with the proposed zoo. So that work is complete, and then it's going to show us going through the zoo, which we haven't done much there. So I'll just probably I'm gonna hit escape there, Kellen. Stop there. So go over our known concerns at the access road around the pre-consolidation pile, this pile of soil that's in this picture here. We, instead of blading this and fixing it up with gravel, we are going to pave that because it's going to be in this condition for a couple of months, likely before heavy construction starts. So it's long enough to where we just need to implement a more permanent style fix. So we have Bechtold paving lined up to actually put some pavement down in that area. The fencing around the pre-consolidation pile hasn't weathered very well in the 80-mile-an-hour winds over the last couple of weeks here. So our intent, because it's going to be in place for a couple of months like this, we're going to put a temporary chain link fence around this just to help enhance safety in this area and try and deter youngsters from playing king of the hill out here. So you'll expect those two things, the fencing and the paving, to occur probably sometime within the next couple of weeks. Also working with Jared, Ellie, and the team on a couple of other things. We're going to be, on behalf of the joint board, reimbursing Park District for purchasing some marketing or sandwich boards that'll be placed around the park and zoo area to direct patrons around. Also investing in some cleaning equipment for the wading pool, and then also some screening for the northwest side of the pool that'll help to screen the view of your patrons and swimmers from the construction equipment, but it'll also keep some of the dust from entering itself. So those are all reimbursable expenses that'll come through the joint board. So working with the team on that. With regard to disruptions and schedules, really not a whole lot to report here. Nothing currently. I mentioned that we completed those soil borings. That work was underway last month. I mentioned the Teddy statue. We're probably looking at late August as the earliest start based on kind of where we are today. So we're behind the eight ball, so to speak, with regard to the schedule, but unfortunately, we have to reject bids when they're that far over the estimate. It just doesn't make financial sense for us to proceed when we're potentially paying 40 to 50% surcharge on a $30 to $40 million. With that, I'd take your questions.
Any questions? Maybe just one, you can't project in the future, but if these bids come in and they're acceptable and you accept them, I mean, does the end date stay where you thought it would be a few months ago? Or, do you think we'll lose another season
I think
of the park?
I think it's conceivable that we would lose another season. We will know for sure after we bid this, get better feedback from the contractors with regard to labor availability. The way that we had structured it the first time around, we were basically going to be doing the work in Roosevelt Park this year and in the zoo primarily next year. And that third year was going to be cleanup. There was still going to be activity happening, but it was going to be mostly cleanup, right? The way that it's kind of coming into focus for us now is that this contractor is going to need likely 3 full seasons to get this built, and the fourth, maybe first half of that fourth season would be for cleanup. So we're likely looking at extension of the open schedule.
Good. All right. Thanks again for coming. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
I would probably just have one thing to add to that for the MI7 update. Callan, can you pull up that map of that piece of land? So if Ryan wants to just stay up there in case you guys have questions for him. I know we have talked about this, but because of grants and everything that were taking place in Roosevelt Park many years ago, we get accounted for that land that has been taken. We're looking at this parcel. See it right there, Kellen's focusing in on it. It would be 80 acres of land. That's in reference to kind of the area behind Hobby Lobby back and just down from the hospital. So we'd be looking at taking ownership of 80 acres parcel of land. We wouldn't have any immediate plans for it, but I think it is a good opportunity for us. And as far as maintenance goes, we could still rent it out to a local farmer rancher to take care of at this time. But I just want to let the board know that that is what we are recommending moving forward as we continue those discussions. I don't think we need a formal vote or anything at this time. I just want you to know that we're talking with the Searchford Junk Garden City of Minot about that. So any questions, I will answer what I can, but I just want Ryan to stick around too if you have any questions for him regarding that.
Anything? Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks again.
Thanks, Ryan.
All right. Any other personal appearances today? All right. Seeing none, we'll move on to the next item, approving the minutes from our May 21st Park Board meeting.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second?
Motion and second. Any discussion? Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, passes. Approval of the bills, $636,419.06.
Move?
Second.
You guys are going to be busy. Although, is Cliff? You there?
Yeah.
Cliff, can you hear us? Maybe.
Or not?
All right, got a motion and a second. Discussion. Call the roll.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Kitzman,
Yes.
Olson.
Yes. Salaries of $574,873.05.
Make a motion to approve the salaries.
Second?
Aha.
He's back.
There you are.
Here.
Give it to Cliff.
He's here.
Motion and a second. Any discussion or questions? Discussion? All right, call the roll.
Hubda,
Yeah.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Kitzman,
Yes.
Olson.
Yes. All right, let's go to the financials. Callan, anything to add? What you had in there?
I'll just add that our audit started for 2023 this week, and so they'll be doing remote field work for the next probably 2 weeks, and then intermittent stuff from there on until they have a final report done. I would assume in 2-3 months. So that's all I got to add. Questions?
Questions? All right, thanks, Callan. We can go right to reports. Jared, you're up first.
All right, Park Board Commissioners, just a couple updates on my submitted report. One is the couple paving projects we have at our pre-construction meetings today, and I put that in front of you. South Auditorium parking lot. Maybe starting with some work tomorrow with curb and gutter and approaches, and then the main project will start July 8th. Everything is scheduled to move on to the North Auditorium starting on the week of August 5th. And both those should all be finished up prior to the main school season in September, right about Labor Day. Shields Complex, they will start that. Might do some testing late July in the parking lot, and then start that same thing the week of August 5th. And if everything goes well, finish that one up by the end of August. So we should have minimal program interruptions there. And then we have the Bison Trail parking lot pre-con today also. Again, they're looking at starting about August 6th, and up to about 60 days finish up for punch list stuff in October. So we'll get a little bit of bison hopefully this fall before the white stuff starts falling. And then the second one, outdoor family rec area phase number 2 is completed. There's just a couple minor punch list items left on that to proceed forward with with phase 2 opening up. Those are the updates from my submitted report. I'll back up under other business. I'll answer any other questions at this time.
Thanks, Jared. Any questions? All right, appreciate it. Golf course, Steve.
We've been busy on the good weather days, which has not been a lot, but things have been going fairly well. The V-Links has had a couple of days where they had about 100 kids play golf, so I would say the future of golf in Minot looks really good with all the kids we have playing, so pretty excited about that.
Questions for Steve? Thanks, Steve. Greens, Mike?
Hey, one thing to add to my report, this year, we're getting into the tournament, so we'll be busy out there prepping the course, and I'm happy to say through all the big wins, we've only had 2 trees that came down at the golf course, so few branches, but more. I'm really happy what I saw out there, so.
Questions for Mike? Thanks, Mike. Sue, Jeff.
All I've got to add in my report, we did lose our bull Scottish Highland cow over the weekend, and we should know more of cause of death after we get pathology back, but nothing apparent, and everything went fairly well after the storm. We didn't have any damage, which was great.
Anything for Jeff? Thanks, Jeff. Bob? Lisa?
I think this month there's nothing that's not in my report already that updates. So questions, I'll leave it at that for this month.
Anything for Bob? Okay. Maintenance, James. Come on.
I don't have much to add to my report. It's been a busy spring startup. Just like to thank my crew for putting in the extra time and keeping things rolling. Any questions?
Anything for James? Perfect. Shannon, horticulture.
I don't really have anything to report other than the weather has been a bit of a challenge lately. A lot of park cleanup right now after the windstorms, but we're getting through it. So get the debris gone, then we can get back out with our mowers. So that's the plan.
All right, perfect. Anything for Shannon? Forestry, Troy.
We've been busy with storm cleanup, of course, and I'd like to give a shout out to my crew. They were out on Sunday at 1:30. I think they were out starting cleanup and worked pretty much all the way through Sunday with a little break in the day, and still at it today. So we're getting caught up though.
Worse than you expected when you saw the aftermath, or was it not as bad as it?
Yeah, I was in Watford City, 4-wheel drive trip, and my phone started ringing about about midnight, and about every hour the cops were calling. So about 5:30, I packed up once the storm was over and started heading back home. But yeah, it was. Roosevelt Park was probably worse than I was expecting. That we lost a lot of trees for that flood project, and those trees were actually the barrier trees for those. Those trees grew up, not having to withstand that wind. Those trees are gone now, so can't handle the 70-mile-an-hour winds. But yeah, that's about the worst part of it.
Think for Troy. All right, Tom.
Just a couple things going on here at the auditorium. We resealed the balconies, stripped and resealed the balconies, so they're ready to go for next this fall. And we're working on the hallways. And then, as far as events at the South Hill Complex, we hosted the Region 3 Girls Fast Pitch Tournament in late May. And then just this past weekend, we hosted the Minot Youth Fast Pitch Girls Tournament, which had 40-some teams from Canada and Western North Dakota. And that's Thor Nelson group puts that tournament on. We just do the maintenance for it, and not too long. Friday and Saturday were long with lightning and whatnot Friday, and then Saturday just that the tournament had a lot of games.
Perfect. Anything for Tom? Okay, thanks, Tom. Ann? You?
Just finally got all our programs underway last week. Just adult sand volleyball is the last one left to get. so far.
All right, anything for Ann? All right, thanks, Ann. And Mark, tennis.
We started all of our tennis and pickleball programs for June. We kicked off with our block party, which was really good. Last week we had started the tennis camps for the kids, and like Steve said, we had a lot of kids in tennis, so that's exciting. That there'll be a lot of tennis, and June looks tennis and
Perfect. Thing for Mark. All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Go to new business, and first on the agenda is budget for next year.
Tell them let's update with that.
So yeah, I just have a quick update on that. So, and provide you with a little bit of a timeline. So we are all kind of going through our rates and looking to do some increases that would take effect in 25, and some of those we will use those increases to adjust what our income is going to be projected at. So we're hoping to have all that done by staff by Friday. Then by July 1st, we're going to be having all of the staff turn in all of their capital improvement kind of wish lists on what they think that we could use out in the parks. And then the week of July 8th, we'll be scheduling meetings with all department heads, just kind of going over how the final budget is shaping, going over the capital improvements that they've turned in, and getting that number finalized. So we should have a pretty decent rough draft that I think we'll try to get to you at some point, possibly before the July meeting. And then we will have a forecasting and budget workshop special meeting that'll take place July 23rd from 1 to 4. We can kind of pull that apart, answer any questions, and get something kind of solid that we want to actually approve for a preliminary budget. That is what I have on budget for right now. If you have any questions.
Any questions, Alan?
No.
Perfect. Thank you. That all sounds good. Number 2 is the Minot Parks app.
I'll take that one too. So on the screen here is what the app will looks like. It went live a couple of weeks ago and is available on Android and Apple phones. And so it is a direct link with RecTrack, our point of sale system. And so you can go in and register for leagues and activities, reserve shelters, book your tee times. You can view the different schedules and events that we're putting on. You can go in and purchase your season passes, as well as it allows us to send out push notifications to anyone who has the app for cancellations, new events or activities that are going to be hosted in the park. And so just a good way for us to communicate with anybody who's using our facilities and parks.
Do we have a way of knowing how many people download?
We do, yes. I haven't got a number on that yet because it's been kind of early.
But we can track that.
Yep, yeah. Plan to probably bring a number back to next week. Quick update on where we're at that point. But yeah, so far it's great and good way for us to push out different things that we're doing and hopefully drive more revenue out of our facility. I think it's good.
So is this replacing the other app we have?
Yes. So the other app was strictly trail maps.
Had like maps.
Yeah. And so currently this one does not have it in there. They do think that they're going to have the capability for it in the future. And so we will kind of work towards replacing that into this app at some point. Okay. But for the time being, we won't. And the trail app, I think, will be active through most of this year. And then I think September, October, somewhere on there, then it will deactivate and go away.
Do we market this?
We did, yeah. We sent out a press release 2 weeks ago, I think, when it was available. And then just looking at other promotions that we can do with it. It's a lot more user friendly as far as, and even for on our end of things, we're updating it in RecTrack in one place. So this morning when we have to cancel activities, we can put push notifications through to parents and guardians that, well, you don't have T-ball today. So it's just way more user friendly for what we do and set up for Parks and Recreation. So we're happy with it so far. Big shout out to Maddie and to Ashley for all their work that they put into this and Counts and working with them as well. So I think as we get the word out there and get the information out there, it'll be a big success.
Takes away the fun though of calling the phone number and trying to get
Right.
through.
Yeah. Right. Yep.
Right.
Yeah. It's not as exciting as it once was. No, you're correct.
All right. Anything more? Questions? Good deal. All right. That does it for new business. Old business. Number 1, indoor facility update.
All right, I will start that one off. So you have a few different timelines in front of you in a calendar if you want to pull up the JLG one. So first one we'll talk about, we had a kickoff meeting with JLG on May 23rd to talk about the indoor turf and looking back at the plan that we created in 2022 with our user groups for indoor facility study. And then last week we sat down with user groups and kind of just reviewed the needs that they had in the past to make sure those are the same needs they need now. Those really good meetings. We held those all day on the 12th. Positive responses, good input. As you can see on that calendar, we will meet again July 9th to talk about programming. Caitlin is here with JLG. They'll be back again on our July 16th board meeting to give you an update. But the goal is, with a few more meetings scheduled in there, that at our August 20th meeting, they would be here to present the pre-designed final concept and estimates for you guys. So from the early estimates that we had, these will be an updated more from the input that we had from the user groups and any program ideas that we would be bringing to the table. So that's an update on the design. We also sat down with our attorney, Pete Hinkla, who is here, and I'll invite him up at this time. We sat down with him to kind of just go through a checklist worksheet of the steps to the sales tax special election process. If that's the route we are leaning down, so I'll probably have him go through that checklist. You have that in front of you of kind of the steps that he recommends and how we would get there.
I think everyone has gotten the handout entitled Outline of Steps for the District. What we're talking about here is proposed use of a sales tax measure or request for an ordinance. And in order to utilize that, we are going to have to work in cooperation with the City of Minot. They are the authority or the public entity that has sales taxing authority. So they would be working through and working through this process, and if we get the city's cooperation, they would be putting this matter out for a special election to implement such a tax that would go in front of the City of Minot residents to see if they want to do that. So in order to kind of kick the process off and do what we need to do on the Park District side to push this matter forward is we just need to put together research and drafting of a proposed ordinance for presentation to the City Council for their review. We would also need to prepare and put forth a proposed joint powers agreement that would outline exactly how the sales tax would be implemented and how we would receive the money and so forth. And lastly, we're probably going to have to draft a summary. If the matter is put out for a special election or an election, we would have to have some sort of summary to put on a ballot for easy reference for the public to vote on it. Then next step there is to just coordinate with the city staff, have them kind of work through the proposals with us and or review what we have put forth as far as a draft of the proposals, fine tune them, also coordinate with city staff for presenting the matter to the city council. And then that would be kind of culminate as far as the Park District putting on a presentation to the City Council outlining what we're going to utilize the sales tax for, what it's going to involve, etc. And then the city council would vote on acceptance of the ordinance conditioned upon a vote of the public. So that would be have to happen in the city council meeting. And if they approve of the use of a special election, then they would vote on that. We would put out publications through the city auditor, setting forth what the proposed ordinance would be published in the newspaper, and so forth. And then there would be a special election held on the matter. That's the general outline of the steps that we would be following. I don't know if anyone has any questions for me at this particular point in time. The actual timing, I know, was discussed in the last board meeting. I wasn't involved, but I did go back and I did watch the board meeting. You know, from my standpoint, timing isn't really going to be an issue. It's a matter of the Park District putting together the proposed language for the ordinance, the JPA, and so forth, coordinating with the city staff. I really don't see that as being a huge chunk of time involved in that one. And then it's just a matter of presenting it at the next regularly scheduled city council meeting for review. They vote on it. So I think, you know, from a timing standpoint, I don't think timing will be an issue.
No, and so early when we talk about kind of the plans that we have and where we're working with JLG on those estimates for the turf, in conjunction with that, Callan is working on operating costs. You know, we're contacting park districts throughout the state and different cities to see what their operating costs are so we can have a decent idea of that for the facility. And then having that August 20th board meeting as a goal to have a draft of an ordinance language written for you guys to take a look at to, you know, include what we would want on there. And from there, we would have a joint powers agreement we'd have to draft up. And also, this is the road we take, we would have to have the ballot language as well. And meeting with the county, they need 60 days in advance notice before we would have a date for a special election. So if this is the route we choose to go down, I'm thinking it would be spring of 2025 at this point. But I feel like we have our ducks in the road to have that August 20th board meeting to have the information from JLG, the operating costs included, and some ordinance language for you guys to take a look at. But as Pete said, we would have to have a committee set up in order to keep that moving as well.
Yeah, at this time, as Ellie, you know, there are some things that need to take place for the planning of the turf project, etc. While that is going on, you know, the Park District board would formulate a committee, or could just be appointed by the chair of the board. Appoint a committee to kind of formulate this language. That can take place simultaneously. And that's why I say timing really isn't an issue on our end. The more problematic timing or the more time intensive is going to be the planning of the project and estimating and so forth.
Who ultimately, if this is the decision that the board wants to take to pursue this, you're talking about spring, possibly election. Do we set the time, or would city council, who would set the?
We would work with Ward County to set that.
Try and set that.
Yeah, once we would have approval from the city council to move forward. Yeah.
It would be coordination with the county, and then we'd notify the city and work for them. So so at this particular point in time, I guess my advice is that, you know, maybe the chair who's currently not available or somebody else just appoint a committee to kind of work through the drafts. It's going to take some time to get that done, and then once the committee has formulated what they want, we work with the city a little bit to kind of fine tune things, and it would come back to the board as a proposal for your review. At that time, you could act on, accept the proposed language, and at that time give direction whether or not you want to submit it to the city council for review or not. Okay.
Thank you. Any questions? I appreciate the information and kind of knowing the direction to go. The committee.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm talking to President Hammer, who's not here, he wants to appoint a committee
Mm-hmm.
and have him and Commissioner Schmidt be on it. And he can just proclaim that, right? And
Yep,
he's
but-
proclaimed it, and now I've said it here too. So
Yep.
we're good to go on that. So it'll be you and
Commissioner Hammer.
Commissioner Hammer, who will kind of do that work to keep things moving in that direction. You guys will keep doing that stuff as well. So see where it goes. No.
No.
Yeah.
No.
It's all good. Okay. Anything else on that? Cool. Thank you, everyone, for all the work on that. Other people talking about it and looking on it. Anything? Sorry, Cliff. Anything from you on that? Are you all right?
I'm all right. I think we're probably on the right track, getting as much information as possible. So I'm fine.
All right. Perfect. Any other old business to bring up? We did the MI7 update, so we're good there. Go to other business. Do we have other business, Jared?
For commissioners, I have 3 items on other business. First one, we were asking approval to add the Minot Honeybees doubleheader game rate of $640. They currently have a single game rate of $440. Doubleheaders weren't part of the discussion when we agreed on the agreement with the Hot Tots Honeybees. So the doubleheader games, don't take a tremendous amount longer time into the evening. There is more setup and tear down, but we feel it would be, we'd like to add a doubleheader rate of $640. That would increase $10 annually, just like the single game rate would through the end of this agreement in 2032.
All right. We have the request, the wishes of the committee board.
I'd make a motion to approve the game rate of 640 doubleheader.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any more discussion? Let's call the roll.
Hovde?
Yeah.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Kitzman?
Yes.
Olson?
Yes. Eric?
Next item is looking for approval to work to solicit and work with an A&E firm to estimate replacement of pool filtration, piping, and a heating system. This would be a finance item for 2025. Again, I'll say it this way, there was many challenges this year getting the pool up and running, and a little bit of borrowed time. So that size of project, we'd like to get A&E involved in it because it'll be a fairly large dollar amount, I would imagine. So get them in at the beginning, not later. So I'm just looking for approval to move that forward.
All right. It's up to you two if we want to do it.
I would make a motion for approval to move forward with the A&E for the Roosevelt pool filtration system.
Second.
I guess it's up to you three. Sorry, Cliff. I keep forgetting that you're in space here. Any discussion? Do we need a roll call or are we okay? All right. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Same sign. All right. Passes. And number 3, Jared.
Well, actually, there will be 4. There's one item I forgot on my report that asking for approval on under bid item. We did approve our golf car lease for 2025. Since we did that, Steve is starting to run out of carts on certain days, and the cart company we use for tournament rentals will no longer be offering that going into 2025. So we are asking to amend our previous approval to increase our fleet from 44 golf cars to 50, which changes the annual payment from $46,456.52. 44 cars to 50 cars, which an annual payment would be $52,791.50. Steve feels that that will be enough to cover tournament carts as well and give us a few extras on these busy days.
All right, commissioners.
I would move to approve the increase. I think it'll pay for itself, so I'd move to approve.
We've got a motion.
Second.
And a second. Any other questions or comments? Questions? Discussion? All right, call the roll.
Update.
Yeah.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Hitzman.
Yes.
Olson.
Yes.
Okay, last item, surplus list. Asking for approval to declare these items on the list in front of you surplus. Cliff, I don't have any 1964 popcorn makers this time, though.
Oh, good.
I'd make a motion to put the listed items in the surplus.
Motion
Second.
and a second. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Thanks, Jared.
Thank you.
Go to the alcohol permits. Like there's 3. For a motion to approve those.
Make a motion to approve the alcohol permit.
Thank you. Motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Seconds. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Those pass. Ellie. Director's.
All right, so we've already had the conversation on turf update and special elections, so we've been definitely dedicating quite a bit of time to that. And also the big thing on the agenda is the 2025 budget that Callan spoke on. Just in conjunction with talking about the 2025 budget, one of the things that we are really looking at as a big picture as staff is, it's really exciting to talk about our opportunities with new facilities, but also, as Jared said, the spring has been challenging with maintenance, some expected, some unexpected, and as we're budgeting, how we account for that in a bigger picture way. So when we talk about that meeting on July 23rd with the future forecasting, that will be a big part of that discussion as well, to make sure as we're looking ahead, we're also keeping in mind our maintenance for our current facilities as well. Just a note for our next meeting, this has been a little bit different because of legislation. Our July meeting on the 16th will now be our reorganization meeting, so that's what will take place at the beginning of our July 16th meeting. And then we'll also have a new council or a new member that will come on, or new commissioner. So we'll introduce Chelsea Kirkhammer at that. She's sitting in the audience tonight. One other thing focusing on as we talk about moving forward with this initiative possibly for sales tax is really taking a deep dive into our economic impact numbers and getting those together. So we'll be working with a few different organizations to get a good solid number on some of those. And yeah, besides spring challenges and getting things open, just thank you to the staff between weather and unexpected maintenance items and all of those things. I appreciate you guys. We've had some big events already and more to come. On Friday, we have Live at Oak Park that will be happening. So lots of good things happening within the Minot Park District right now. That's all I got.
Ellie, anything for Ellie? Questions? All right, let's go to Commissioner's report. Ken, your last commissioner.
I bid you goodbye.
Get to kick us off. You're up.
You know how much I appreciate every meeting that I've been, all the other activities. I say I really appreciate this. I really do appreciate all you do. Most of the stuff that happens doesn't happen here. It happens in the past. And I really do admire what you do. And I thank you.
All right, thanks, Ken. Cliff, if you're still there, you can have at it.
I got three things. I hear Chelsea in the audience. I just want to say congratulations and welcome. Bob, I'm not sure I have this right. I think I read just a quick blurb in the Grand Falls Herald today in the picture. Did you receive a special achievement award recently? I thought I read that, but if I did, congratulations. And finally, Ken, just thank you for your service, your 4 years of service. Your positive attitude and your appreciation and motivation was very good, and it's just great that somebody's willing to do that and have such a great attitude while they were doing it. So thank you, Ken Kitchen. That's all.
Thank you, Cliff. Mike?
Yeah, just a couple things. Again, go out to the staff. Thanks for everything. Especially with the weather we've had with the cleanup. Troy, with your staff going out there and doing what they're doing, and read a lot on social media. Not believe everything in social media, but I do believe what they're saying about you guys and it's cleaning things up right away. Appreciate the effort there. The South Hill Complex. Stopped up there Sunday, Tom, and talked to individuals up there. Phenomenal. Again, I mean, your guys' crew is complimented how hard you guys worked and everything up there. I talked to some fans up there. Talked about the complex itself. Unbelievable. So we had like over 25 Canadian teams, I believe. Western teams. And that just kind of proves what, if we move on with what we're talking about for the indoor facility, is that because we built that facility, look what we're bringing into the city of Minot for the hotels were built, the money that was going through the restaurants, things of that nature there. And because we have that facility, because of what you guys do, makes it, these possibilities but move forward we're looking at. Well, other things, Ken, appreciate the time spent with you. Thanks for your dedication to the community. To your next endeavor, good luck to you. And the other person, Chelsea, welcome. And you're going to enjoy being on this board. I can guarantee you that. Right? Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. I echo that to Chelsea. Congratulations, Cliff, as well. Chelsea, you're going to have a blast. It's some fun stuff that we get to talk about right off the bat. So get to start with the budget. That's always fun. But no, it'll be great to have you. I think we talked about the pool, and I know that there was a lot of work that went into getting the pool open this year, and it's the one pool we've got, right? So I think it is great that we start to look and make sure that it's going to work every year. So it's prudent that you guys are doing that. So thanks to staff for that, and hopefully it's not too expensive but we'll see what happens with that. And then I obviously echo everything headed your way, Mr. Kitzman. Really got to know you after the flood with your work then at the Minot Area Community Foundation, which the work you did with the Community Foundation as well, a big part of your career. So congratulations on that, but also thanks for serving on the park with the Park District. It's been awesome, and we have something for you. Pass it down so we can get our
plaque.
It's like the U.S. Open trophy.
Thank you.
Something
Very nice.
to remember your 4 years, and appreciate you. Not just
I've enjoyed this.
not just the committee, but the community.
I say this over and over. It's the best folks I've ever worked with. I mean, that's again, thank you.
Awesome. You want to make one last motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
All right. A second? That's right. Sorry, it dies for a lack of a second. No. Okay. Oh, we got a second in there just in time. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, let's go to the foundation meeting. Still a member of that. Personal appearances. Thing. All right, meeting minutes of the 21st of May.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion. Call the roll. Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We have no bills. Want to talk about the statement at all, Calvin?
Nope, nothing to add.
All right. Do it one more time, Ken. Come on. Make a motion to adjourn.
Adjourn?
Yeah.
I move that we adjourn.
Good deal. Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?